It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. What if I told you that a woman who is sharing daily vocabulary words has 58 million email opens per month and is making 7 figures? Or that somebody teaching people how to cook on a keto diet while bodybuilding just bought a new house in Malibu from their newsletter revenue. Or there's another guy who's writing about positive news stories, literally just good news without the doom and gloom. They have millions of subscribers and get paid 6 figures by major brands. Here's what's wild. None of these people consider themselves business experts, right? They're not teaching entrepreneurship or marketing or anything that has anything to do with really making money. They're just passionate about their little weird corner of the internet, and they are absolutely crushing it. So the one about vocabulary, take Word Daily, for example. It's literally just one new vocabulary word sent to your inbox every single day. That's it. There's no fancy graphics, no complex strategies. Just here's today's word, and here's what it means, and here's how to use it. 58 million opens per month. There's nice news. They figured out that people are exhausted by negative headlines, so they went the other direction. They created a newsletter that only shares positive, uplifting stories. Now they have millions of subscribers who are desperate for something that doesn't make them want to hide under their covers. There is a newsletter revolution that's happening right now under everybody's nose. And while everybody's fighting for attention on social media, which is still, I think, worthwhile to fight that fight, really smart creators are building email lists and are doing amazing work to convert that email list into revenue in some way, shape, or form. And these, again, are business newsletters. I mean, newsletters about things like dog training, sourdough baking, vintage vinyl records, and space exploration. Today, in this episode, I'm going to be pulling back the curtain on what's actually working in the newsletter world here in 2025. Not the stuff that worked 5 years ago, not the theory, the real tactics that are generating millions of subs and millions of dollars for people who just decided to share what they love. So hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to turn your passion, whatever it is, into a newsletter that people actually want to read and maybe even pay for. Maybe pay for directly because it's a paid newsletter, or pay for in the products and offerings and recommendations that you offer, or the brand sponsorship deals that happen as a result of the audience that you've built. So whether you want to start from zero or you've got a newsletter that's kind of stuck, I'm about to show you the playbook that's working right now. So let's just dive right in. So let's talk about a framework that's working right now, the sort of foundation of it all, the jobs to be done framework. So these are, again, I'm just going to continue to try to use non-business examples for a lot of this, but we need to stop thinking about topics, right? Like subscribing to become an entrepreneur. We need to start thinking about problems that we as the creators can solve for people. So here are some examples, some that align with ones we talked about earlier and some new ones. So I'm just going to phrase it this way. Help me discover new words to sound smarter. Right? There is the what, the feature, and the benefit in there. And that's the word daily. It's 58 million opens per month. Help me stay informed without getting depressed. Nice news. Help me train my rescue dog without losing my mind. That is a newsletter called the Doggy Digest. Let me read that again for you because that's a good one. Help me train my rescue dog without losing my mind. So niche specific, benefit, the Doggy Digest. Help me cook healthy meals my picky kids will actually eat. That is the Family Food Fix newsletter. Help me find vintage vinyl records before they get expensive. The Crate Digger Weekly newsletter. Help me understand what's happening in space without a PhD. Cosmic Curiosity. So you want to define this kind of job that you are doing for a person in your newsletter as much as possible. And even with my newsletter, the Unstuck newsletter, it's still not as clear as maybe it could be to help you get unstuck from the plateaus that you are facing in your business. We could potentially get more specific. But when people know what the purpose of your newsletter is, not just the topic of it, but what you can help people solve, they are not just more likely to subscribe, but they're more likely to get value from it. It's very clear. It sells itself versus the, I don't know what I'm getting here. People are more likely to open multiple emails down the road, and that's what you want. Here's another way to frame the thinking around this in terms of choosing what to create a newsletter about or how to mold the one that you already have. The idea of hyper niche or hyper scale. You don't want to be in the middle. The messy middle kills newsletters, right? So here, again, are just examples to kind of tell you what I'm talking about. Hyper niche examples would be sourdough troubleshooting for beginners versus all cooking tips. Right? People don't want to cook everything. They want to cook the thing that they want to focus on, or they want to go find the solution, right? These newsletters are almost in a way the new Google search because Google search is just terrible right now. Training rescue pit bulls versus general dog training. Vintage Fender guitar restoration versus music gear. So those are hyper niche examples versus their non-niche examples. Here are some hyper scale examples. Nice news, which is good news only. Daily vocabulary builder, that's the word daily. Or the Daily Dad, which is positive parenting tips. So these are big at scale, right? But they have a specific sort of twist to them. Good news only. The Daily Vocabulary Builder. The positive parenting tips. All right, so that sort of foundation, we need to pick what the solution is that we're providing. Let's move on to growth tactics that are working right now. Growth in terms of getting more people to subscribe to your email list. Now, a lot of the strategies here can help you grow other things too, as you'll find. And this first part is the content multiplication strategy, a repurposing strategy, turning one newsletter article into 10 plus different pieces of content across different platforms. So let's just use an example, a home coffee newsletter. There's a lot of coffee creators out there and a lot of people in that community, and there are many newsletters in it. So let's say that you are in this space and you write a newsletter called Why Your Coffee Tastes Bitter and the 30-Second Fix. And I think it's kind of table stakes and doesn't have to be said here, but I'm going to say it anyway. Your subject lines have to be great, and you should always continue to improve them. You should always split test them as much as possible so you can hone in on what strategies work best for you and the audience that you're building. So didn't want to go too deep into that because these are things that always work, right? Having good subject lines, having the first part of your newsletter or the written part of your email be very intriguing enough to keep a person reading all the way down. But I just read this example and it struck me. Why Your Coffee Tastes Bitter and the 30-Second Fix, right? So this one newsletter that you write can become 5 Instagram posts, right? 3 signs you are over extracting, the grind size mistake everyone makes, water temperature hack, timing your brew, before, after taste test. You can put 5 videos on the same topics, but with now visual demonstrations instead of photographs on TikTok. You can repurpose that into YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, of course, in addition to the posts and the carousel that you might have. You could turn that into a blog post. And the result is from just 52 newsletters. If all you did was start with your newsletter, you'd have 520 social posts already made for you per year. You just have to sort of extract them. So here are some tools to help you do this. You could use for repurposing something like Buffer or Later.com for scheduling across different platforms, so you don't have to go to each and every individual one. I did get confirmation, by the way, because this was something that my team and I did a lot of research on and spoke about, because we are implementing a new social strategy and we are utilizing multiple platforms, and we'd like to just have as little work required to do that as possible. And so we are using Buffer. Later.com works as well. But I was worried going into this because the best practices back in the early 2010s was you do not use these tools to publish on these different platforms, because they want these things to be natively pushed out or natively uploaded and posted and published on these individual platforms. But that's no longer the case anymore, it seems. I got confirmation even from these different social media platforms that using scheduling tools and things like that do not stunt growth. Now, of course, you still need to understand best practices on those platforms. And just because a video performs well on one does not necessarily mean it may perform well on another. In many cases, it very well may, but sometimes it doesn't. So keep those best practices for each individual platform in mind. But let's move on. In addition to repurposing with Later or Buffer, getting ideas with ChatGPT, right? How to turn this newsletter into 5 social media posts. That's a great use for Claude or ChatGPT. If you build some sort of agent or method or automation to take a newsletter that you create and run it through some system that then can extrapolate several different posts for you, great, amazing. It might take some time to build, but it's going to be something that saves you many, many minutes, if not hours over time. And then for video creation, tools like CapCut can help you edit for free. Canva has things like motion graphics, which you can include for various posts. I use ScreenFlow for editing just because it's an old school Mac-based tool that I've gotten very familiar with. I know all the shortcuts, all those kinds of things. And of course, the more you're posting, the better you get at how to use these different tools and how to use them more efficiently. So that is one way people are growing, is they're using the content multiplication strategy. And when they promote on these other platforms, they are then bringing people back into that newsletter. And even if a person were to never, ever sign up for your newsletter, you're still able to get that content in front of people on platforms where they are consuming content. And that's another great part of this strategy, is you're still able to reach people and teach the same things, even if they're not subscribed to your newsletter. Next, let's talk about the One Reward referral program. So this means giving away one valuable digital item for just one referral. Sometimes we've tried referrals and it's like, hey, if you get 5 referrals, you get this prize. If you get 10 referrals, you get this prize, these kinds of things. And yeah, it's a lot. So just kind of one referral to unlock some sort of incentive, right? People don't have 5 to 10 friends to refer to, right? But they might have one. And those milestone programs, they just don't convert very well. So here's some examples that are working for a coffee newsletter. Ultimate Coffee Brewing Cheat Sheet, right? Something that they can, again, unlock after they refer just one person. Dog training. If you're in dog training, an emergency behavior fix guide or a guide on how to, this would have been useful for me, clean up pee on carpet and furniture so that there's no odor left over. That would be helpful. Recipe newsletter, right? 30 meals kids actually eat. Just access to a database of that or a library, which is great. For home organization, room by room decluttering checklist, quick little templates. These could be easy. So you can use tools like SparkLoop, which can work with any email platform. Kit has its own native referral feature, so keep that in mind. And for lead magnet creation and things like this, these incentives, I mean, just start simple, right? If this were easy, what would it look like? Google Docs can work for simple guides and templates, worksheets, Canva, if you want to make those designs a little bit better. All right. Now, let's talk about ads. Should you pay for ads for people to join your newsletter? I know many people who are and are doing very, very well with that. They're running ads on Facebook and Instagram and even on TikTok. And you can get new subscribers. I mean, of course, it depends on how well you optimize the ads, who it is you're targeting, etc. But anywhere between 35 cents and $2.50 for each new subscriber. Now, there's money involved here, obviously. You need to pay to get these subscribers, which is why targeting is important. Yes, you could probably get a lot of subscribers if you were to give away like an iPad or something, but how useful and targeted would those subscribers be? They're not there for your thing. They're there for the iPad, right? So I wouldn't ever run a giveaway that's for anything other than something inside of my niche that I'm helping people with or the solutions I'm trying to offer. So ads. So ads can work, but I would only recommend doing ads if you know that there is some sort of built-in mechanism to either get revenue on the newsletter. If it's a paid newsletter, great. You'll be able to clearly understand how much you're paying versus how much you're getting back. I would gladly pay quarters for 50 cents or 50 cents for $1. If I can pay 75 cents and I know that I would get $1 back for every 75 cents spent, I mean, I would add zeros on top of all of those. I would just exchange that all day long. And that's the optimal way to go about doing ads of any kind, is knowing that there is some sort of payout on the other end of those ads and hoping that it's going to be positive, right? Not negative. Maybe you're not making money directly from the emails because it's not a paid newsletter, although again, those are working. Maybe it's revenue from a program that people get access to, or they get an offer from you, a course, a coaching opportunity, a consultant opportunity. Maybe they're booking calls with you through there, which are all important for business and can help support the idea and justify the idea of paying for ads for new subscribers. So that can work well, the indirect revenue that can come from that. But if you are just collecting subscribers just to collect subscribers and then figure out monetization later, I would not pay for ads. The only, I guess, other justified way or reason to do it in that regard, why you should pay ads even if you don't have a monetization strategy, is at least set a budget, is to build an email list so that you can figure out the best monetization strategy, right? What are these people needing help most with? What are their biggest pains that you can create a solution for? There is something to be said for paying for market research. And if you can get those people on an email list to then conduct that market research, amazing. The last thing I'll say when it comes to growing your email list is when other people talk about your email list. When you have a podcaster talk about how great your email list is, well, then they're likely to help push people your way. Right? Of course, yes, again, table stakes, have that landing page, be very clear, have examples or even testimonials. You need to sell the idea of subscribing to your newsletter. And again, it starts with what is the problem you're solving? But when you have the testimonials there, aka the proof that this is worth their time, when you have maybe examples of other things, if you have recipes, here's what an example recipe looks like and how easy it is to obtain and print out so that it's easy to cook from home, all those kinds of things. The referrals are great. And if you have any connections to anybody in the niche that you're in that aligns with your target audience, well, call in for those favors. Maybe do an email swap if possible. Maybe these are the ads you pay for to get mentioned in those newsletters so that people then subscribe to yours. There's also, if you're inside of Kit, there's the Creator Network, which is sort of a built-in subscriber sharing opportunity between you and other creators on there. You have to each on both sides kind of approve, but it is so good. It's, in fact, the number one way that our email list is growing is within the Creator Network inside of Kit. So if you're not signed up with Kit yet, I highly recommend doing so. smartpassiveincome.com/Kit is where you want to go. Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? Score App helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Let's move on from list growth and let's talk about monetization methods that are working right now. We're going to start with immediate monetization on sign up. Again, this is the paid newsletter, and there are 4 to 5 different ways to do that. Paid recommendations. Right after someone subscribes, show them 3 other newsletters they might like. And if they subscribe to those, you get paid. So this is, again, inside something like Spark Loop that you could do. And you can get paid to have people sign up for other newsletters. Yes, this is sort of an unknown or very not much spoken about opportunity using your newsletter and the people who come in new and pushing them elsewhere at the same time, Sparkloop can help with that, and Kit as well. Number 2, trip offer wires. So a tripwire offers. I say trip offer wires. Tripwire offers. So a tripwire is just like a fancy name for something that triggers immediately. So in the coffee newsletter example, when a person subscribes, on the thank you page, there could be a $19 perfect homebrew guide. They're on the thank you page. They just subscribed. If you don't offer anything, they're going to go away, and then you'll have to rely on them to open that email later, which is okay. And of course, you want to practice best practices for subject lines and all those kinds of things. But there's a ripe opportunity when they land on that thank you page to just offer a nice little guide or something that is typically lower priced, just so a person can get access to it, and they're warm. They're warm because they just subscribed, and that's a perfect opportunity. You don't really lose anything by trying that. And even trying for a 1 to 3% conversion rate on that can lead to some really amazing additional revenue down the road. Revenue that can help support with ads that you're spending money on, or even just more money in your pocket. So there's a number of tools that can do that. StanStore is amazing for setting up things like that, just quick buy offers on websites and links and things like that. Samcart and Gumroad, these are all tools that people may have heard of before that can do the same thing. Kit can do this as well with your email's built-in store. And then let's talk about lead generation. So you can collect data through post-sign-up surveys. This is, again, something that's I've seen on a couple creators' websites. It's something that people don't often talk about. But if you partner with a company and they are looking for information about leads that you bring, you can sell those leads. You have to be honest and upfront with this, but you can sell those leads for $50 to $200 each to relevant companies. Again, you'll have to set this up with different companies, but I know, for example, a person who collects emails related to personal finance, and he has a deal with an insurance company, and he will often get $50 per lead that he sends over. I mean, I'm not going to mention any names, but this is the number one way this person is generating revenue. It's not actually from his own products and his own coaching for personal finance and advising. It's literally through selling leads to an insurance company. Now, that particular example may irk some people, but that's how that works in the financial space. But there might be opportunities for you to sell leads. For example, in the coffee newsletter example, you could sell leads to coffee equipment companies, if that might make sense, right? Or instead of an affiliate program, you're sending leads, and those companies have their own teams of salespeople to convert the high-end espresso machine, right? So that can work, selling qualified leads to sponsors. How does that work? Well, you'll just have to reach out to the sponsor. So instead of them, and in addition to them paying for space in your newsletter, right? Because you can make money by renting out space in your newsletter, essentially. You could set up this deal on top of that, where any new subscribers who come in, who maybe answer a few questions, maybe you have a survey up front that they click a few drop-down menu items, and if they click certain things, then those are leads that are qualified to then sell. Perhaps maybe you find that people on your list are more B2B. Great, let me take those B2B people only and offer them to the company that I have this deal with and this opportunity. And of course, affiliate offers. That's another way that you can monetize your newsletter as well. Yes, affiliate marketing is still around, and it's still something that is underutilized. Recommending products based on your own experience is the best way to do it. So if you have experience with the product, I think there are several different niches and markets that make it easy, right? If there's a lot of equipment involved, camera people, video creation, things like that, craft-related things where people need equipment to do the craft, well then sure, it's really easy to say, hey, well, you need this tool, so go use this. But in the digital space, it might be more software, it might be certain coaches or other programs that you get involved with that you can become an affiliate for. And the more relevant those products and services are to your audience, well, guess what? The more likely they are to pay to get access to them, and the more revenue is coming your way from those companies. So where do these go? Yes, these can go in the newsletter themselves. Hey, check out this product and how I use it, etc. But you can also include it on the thank you page. In fact, kind of meta for a while, back when Kit was known as ConvertKit, I would offer, because my audience are business owners and entrepreneurs who were looking to start an email list. And so I'd help them understand the process by actually taking them through it. So a person would subscribe to my newsletter, they'd get an email, they'd land on the thank you page, and it would give them more information. And it would also say, hey, by the way, if you like how the experience went for you when you signed up for this newsletter, you could start your own newsletter. using ConvertKit. And here's my special discount for that. And right there on the thank you page, I converted tens of thousands of dollars worth of revenue just because I had already taken them through that process. Right? So the thank you page could be great. Of course, in addition to that, there's sponsorship opportunities for lists, even small lists, right? The companies that want to get in front of your audience know just how loyal some newsletter subscribers can be. And yes, of course, the more numbers, the better, but it's a pay per 1,000 subscribers sort of deal. So whether you have just 1,000 subscribers or more, then you can get paid for that. However, that is more the traditional route of how to monetize in a sponsorship manner. What I would recommend is either A, trying to do sponsorship plus affiliate marketing. And yes, there are worlds where you can do both and kind of double dip. But secondly, I would really dive in and start studying and understanding where else are these companies paying to get in front of people and how much are they paying. For example, they might pay $3,000 to $5,000 to set up shop for 2 days at a convention in their industry to go and meet 100 new leads. Well, hey, I have an email list of 1,200 people. And if you're paying $3,000 to get in front of 100 people, well, you can do the math. You can get a lot more money if you position it that way because you're getting in a person's inbox and those leads are already there. So again, sponsorships work, and I wouldn't just blanket say, hey, it's this much money to sponsor my newsletter. Have conversations with these companies, figure out where else they are spending money, how else are they trying to get leads, and how can you help them do that with the list that you are building and maybe have built already. Maybe you've seen them advertise in another newsletter, right? You could subscribe to other newsletters in your niche and see who else is being mentioned there in an ad-like fashion, and then you can reach out and speak to those people more directly. All right, one thing that is pretty underutilized when it comes to email that we have to think about is engagement and retention. A lot of us talk about monetizing. A lot of us talk about growing your email list or even just starting it. But what do you do when you get people on that list if you don't think about how people are interacting with that email list or the emails that come into their inbox from you? Then what are we even doing this for? So let's talk about engagement and retention hacks for your email. Because truthfully, what happens is when your audience starts to engage with you more, meaning they're opening those emails, meaning they are clicking on those links, meaning they are replying to you when you ask, well, that does a few things. Number one, it decreases your spam score, which means your emails are more likely to show up in everybody else's inboxes. And that's always a good thing. Number two, you're building a relationship with people, which is exactly what we want to do via email. It's a way to scale the relationship building process in our business. But number three, and this is the most obvious, people will be impacted by you. People will be able to read the things that you have to offer them, click on the things that can then change their lives. Right? That's why we're doing this. So we need to make sure that our audience is engaged. So think about it. We've talked about subject line already. We talked about sort of the first part of that email once they open it up so that they know why they should continue to read. But the most important thing that you need is an amazing first impression. I would always recommend that when a person comes onto your email list, that they need to be onboarded with a wow. What that means is it's not just the regular process that they see and they go through and they click a link to confirm for double opt-in, and then they get that email, welcome, here's the kind of emails that you can expect. The first one comes, da-da-da. They're getting that from everybody. How can you wow? How can you wow? That's what you need to figure out. If you have the coffee newsletter example, maybe the welcome series includes a free first coffee upgrade, right? Or some hack to do in your kitchen with cinnamon or something, some recipe that you didn't even know existed in your kitchen pantry that you could do right now. Quick wins go a very, very long way. So having a welcome series, especially if you're going to eventually lead into something, is going to be really important. You want to nurture, you want to build that relationship. Yes, the broadcasts that you send that fulfill the promise of what it is that you're offering and the problem that you're solving is important. And you want to do that in every email, of course. But the onboarding welcome series and that experience both on the landing page and on the thank you page and that very first email, personalize it. Put your personality in there. That's what people are going to connect with. Tell a story. Show up, right? So the welcome series is going to be really key. Next, you want to have a win back series. And what this means is after 3 weeks, a 3-week or 4-week period, a month, is a good time to, if a person, and I'm not going to tell you technically how to do this because every email service provider is different. Kit can do this for you with cold subscribers and all this kind of stuff, but it's great. That is, if a person becomes dormant because for whatever reason, you want to try to re-engage them. And this is a really important part of the healthy email process, healthy email list process. So after 21 days, after 30 days of no opens, a subject line of just, did I lose you? Could be great for people to open because that's curiosity driven. It makes you wonder what's going on. You can offer something valuable in that trigger email that gets sent out. This is an email that, again, gets sent out if and only if people haven't opened that email or any email from you within the last 4 or 5 sends. So offering something valuable. Hey, to bring you back in, here's something you may have missed, or here's my free PDF guide, or here's some video that was inside of our membership, but I took it out and brought it here just to show you the kinds of things that you're missing out on because you're not opening these emails. Right? So it's great to keep existing subscribers if you can bring them back. If they don't re-engage with you within a week after that, you've tried a few times, you can be a little bit more aggressive if you'd like, then remove them from your list. You want to have that be as automated as possible, right? So you can kind of write these things ahead of time, have certain triggers happen, and Kit, you can do this in the visual editor in terms of the flow and where subscribers are in their journey with you, all those kinds of things. So again, Kit is one of the best strategies for that. And then, of course, if you have something to offer, you want certain sequences pre-written to start. Now, of course, if you're doing a real-time offer, you've been leading into October launch of sorts, whatever the month may be, then, of course, those will be broadcasted to everybody. However, you can determine, based on how people interact with your emails, how they open those emails, how they click on certain emails, or what they do from there. You can segment those people out and then begin to offer them something because you know that they are opening, you know that they're warm. And sending those things to engaged subscribers is great because you know that they'll be more likely to convert or at least give you some feedback on why it's not the right time for them. You can mix some education along in with selling into these sequences as well. Again, pre-written sequences that fire out after a certain time period. Maybe it's after a certain number of weeks on your email list if they have been engaged with you all the way through. I think another way to engage with your audience beyond that and those things that you could pre-write and sequences are polls. Using your email as a poll opportunity is amazing. This can help you with determining what the next subjects should be for your email newsletters. It can help you determine what the biggest challenges are right now or where people's heads are at in your space. What are people thinking a lot about? I remember we ran a survey not too long ago and AI was like the biggest thing everybody was wondering about. So that enabled us to understand, okay, AI is a topic people want to learn about. We now know this. We have data for it. Let's run a workshop inside of our community for it. And we did, and it was very successful. So this is where the benefit of an email list comes in even bigger. It's in the ideation phase of new things. It is in the helping you to be inspired on what to create next, what to offer next, what products and services you could recommend as an affiliate, right? They can give you content ideas. And from here, you can also identify and start conversing with your biggest fans. And this is where you'll see those who are even further engaged with you. You're going to start to get to know, especially if your email list is a little smaller on the size. You'll be able to actually remember certain people's names who continually reply back, and you're having conversations with them and all those kinds of things. It's pretty amazing what can happen. And you can offer those people special offers. You can bring them as beta members into your community if you're building one. All those kinds of things are amazing. You can run surveys on Kit. This is how I was able to segment my audience from people who were beginners to intermediates to advanced. And by having people click certain links, you can have them tagged, right? So anybody who clicked a link that said, yes, I'm a beginner, was then tagged a beginner. And then I could serve them with other things from there. You could offer polls that are more creative, just to kind of, again, get people to click versus more of a survey. The coffee newsletter example, again, it's like, how was your morning brew today? It was great. It was average, satisfactory. It was poor. Rate your pup's progress this week for the dog newsletter. These kinds of things. You can have Google Forms kind of embedded into these things if you just want them more for engagement opportunities and kind of fun surveys that you can then report back later with. You can use 3 images that link to certain things. If you're asking a question, they can link to different thank you pages. Typeform is great for detailed surveys as well. So again, these are the kinds of things people are thinking about when it comes to their newsletter. A lot of us have been put in this island of just automation when it comes to emails. Like, let's write all the newsletters ahead of time and just kind of like let it be. But I think the more active you are with, especially the engagement piece and how to collect responses, even asking people to literally hit reply and share with you an answer to a question that you've given them. These, again, can help your spam score, but ultimately just help you understand who your audience is better. And that's so, so powerful. So your next steps from here, these are action steps. Think about this when it comes to your newsletter. Complete this sentence. I help specific people achieve specific outcome. So what are those blanks? I help blank achieve blank. Complete that. That is your newsletter's job. So for me, for Unstuck, I help stuck entrepreneurs who cannot grow, who are suffering from overwhelm, get unstuck. What's yours? Next, create a lead magnet. Make it simple, make it easy. Make one valuable digital asset that, yes, can help people come into the newsletter. But try thinking about it from the perspective of if a person refers an additional person, just one, they then unlock this. And hopefully it starts that flywheel, because then that person will come in, maybe make a recommendation, and then that person will come in, maybe a recommendation. And Spark Loop and, again, Kit can help you with those kinds of things. Set up your content multiplication strategy. Draw it out. Use Post-it notes, whatever you need to do. ChatGPT can help you with that as well. And then finally, if you have 500 plus subscribers, you can test Spark Loop and try to monetize when new subscribers come into your email list. You can get that again through Kit as well. Kit acquired Spark Loop recently, actually. You know, the biggest newsletters aren't going to be about business or marketing, although that's what we always hear because those are the worlds that we live in. But the biggest newsletters are actually the ones about things that people care about in their daily lives. If you think about the newsletter Morning Brew, which is one that I subscribe to, that's how I get a lot of my news and some of the latest happenings in the world right in my daily inbox. The question is, what do you care about enough to write about every single week? Because someone out there needs exactly what you know. So thank you so much for listening in on this. I appreciate you. This is what's working in newsletters today across the board. And next week, we're going to talk about something else that's working. We're on this sort of what's working now series here on the podcast. So I hope you've been enjoying it. Hit that subscribe button so you get the next one soon, and take care. If you're listening to this right now, I know something about you. You have a dream to start a business, to make an impact, and to finally take control of your future. Maybe you felt stuck in your 9-to-5, wondering if there's more to life than clocking in and out. Or maybe you've been blindsided, like I was years ago, by losing a job and needing to create something new from scratch. Or maybe deep down, you just know it's time to bet on yourself. You've got the knowledge, you've got the passion, but turning that into a product, something that actually brings in revenue, that can feel super overwhelming. Maybe your mind is spinning with ideas, or maybe you don't even know where to begin. Either way, let me tell you something. You don't have to do this alone. That's why I created Smart from Scratch. It's more than just a course. It's a proven roadmap designed to take you from what if to, wow, this is actually happening. This is actually the first course that I ever created, and I've completely refreshed it. The whole purpose is to help you take the millions of ideas you have and narrow them down to one. Or if you're feeling lost, it will help you get started and find an idea that works. That's what this process is about. It will walk you through step by step exactly how to validate an idea. It's going to challenge you. It'll push you to do things you wouldn't normally do. And that's why you haven't succeeded yet. No one has told you exactly what you need to do. Through this process, I promise you, you'll gain a clear understanding of what works and what doesn't. And once you understand what works, you'll gain confidence. And that is exactly what you need. The best part, this course used to cost hundreds of dollars, but now I'm giving you this knowledge and guidance absolutely free. Simply go to smartpassiveincome.com/smart to learn how to get access.